welcome back. Up to this point, everything that we've covered in neuroacting, everything that you've learned, all the exercises, all the visualizations, all the mind-bending neuroscience, it's all been leading you to a cliff edge. If you leap from that cliff edge, you become a true artist. If you step back, that's your choice, but you remain a safe, controlled, and possibly unfulfilled performer. And that's your journey. But today, I'm going to walk you to the edge, and then you can choose whether you're going to jump. So far in the neuroacting system, we've met the soul, or if you'd like, our character. We calmed it down. We met the instincts that are driving us. We opened the heart and focused the mind in order to receive a stimulus. We awakened the body so that we could connect with another person. And now we're ready for the fourth stage interacting, expressing. As I bring you closer to that cliff edge, you look over the edge and see that the best actors most succeed by seeming not to act at all. Also, they seem truthful and real. They don't seem to be beating us over the head with their feelings. Robert De Niro said it's important not to indicate. People don't try to show their feelings, they try to hide them. You and I want to draw the audience in and create that sense of unity with them, so we must be believable. But how can we be believable if what we're doing is actually fake?
It's the shit, huh?
Let's play a game. The only rule is you have to use your imagination completely, one of the most powerful tools of an actor, and one we've been developing. So in this game, I want you to imagine that what you're about to hear and see and experience is absolutely real. And I want you to do what I say as if your life depended on it. Ready? Close your eyes. Now imagine that you're waking up in a strange environment. You don't know how you got there. You're lying down. Listen to your environment. Now, make your breathing quick and light and shallow, holding on to some of your breath as you exhale. And now, slowly open your eyes. Can you hear me? Do you know where you are? You're in a hospital. Listen to me, we need to work fast. You've just come back from abroad on a mission for us. We think that somebody you met over there in the last 24 hours has poisoned you. That's why you're waking up here. Now, I need your help. We can only come up with an antidote that's going to save your life if you can tell me everything that you've ingested over the last 24 hours. Listen to me. Think. Everything that you put into your mouth over the last 24 hours. We've only got about 30 seconds if we're going to be able to treat you. Don't think about it. Tell me everything that you put into your mouth over the last 24 hours. Go. Go on, keep talking. Keep talking, we've got about 10 seconds left. Stop. Nurse, start an IV of atropine instead. Good, well done. And hold, please. Very good. We're going to play the game again. This time, the task is the same. You're going to tell me everything you've eaten in the last 24 hours. Should be easier this time. But while you're doing that, while you're talking, I want you to imagine that the poison is affecting your mind. So as you're talking, I want you to recite silently in your head the 3 times tables while you're talking. Understand? This time the game is just as real. Your breathing will be the same, but this time, as you tell me what you've eaten, you'll be saying in your head your 3 times tables. In other words, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, and so on. Do this in your head at the same time as you're telling me what you ate. Now, close your eyes. Start with your breathing. Make it light and quick and shallow. And now open your eyes. We've only got about 30 seconds if we're going to be able to treat you. Don't think about it. Tell me everything that you put into your mouth over the last 24 hours. Go. Go on, keep talking. Keep talking, we've got about 10 seconds left. Stop. Nurse start an IV of atropine stent. Good. Well done. And hold, please. Now, question. Without thinking, how do you feel at this very moment? Stressed? Anxious? Afraid? How do you feel in your chest? Now, answer me this. While you were involved in the activity, were you interested in showing the world what you were feeling? If your imagination was driving you, probably not. Now, let's imagine that you just played this last scene in front of an audience or to a camera. The audience would decide that you were preoccupied, frustrated, nervous, on edge. They would assign those emotions to you, but you, the actor, were not trying to show us that you were feeling those emotions. You were completely involved in the doing. You were playing an action. You were doing something truthfully under imaginary circumstances, and that made you feel something. So mood follows action. But you are not at all concerned about the effect of your performance. If you understand the difference between those two, in other words, honestly and vigorously doing something versus showing us with no real genuine investment, which is not using your imagination, but if you understand the difference between doing and showing, then you're on the way to understanding what acting really is. Acting is doing. Emotions are like sweat that comes from doing. The more focused you are on the doing, the more important it is to you, the more that's at stake should you fail, the more you will feel.
What does it matter?
Because maybe I needed to know that at least one goddamn thing I ever did it mattered to somebody.
And the feelings will take care of themselves. But you don't play emotions. Mood follows actions. Same as in life. You don't like your mood? Do something. Take some action.
3 frogs are sitting on a log. One decides to jump off. How many are left? That's right, 3.
What? The one frog only decided to jump. He didn't take the action. Got it? Both life and acting is all about action. So acting that looks truthful is not what it seems. Until you understand this, you're looking at acting the same way an audience looks at acting, and I'm not going to let you do that. We've now come to a working definition of acting from Sanford Meisner. Acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And that's what you did with our game a little earlier. Stella Adler made it even more simple and doable. She said that acting and doing are the same. When you're acting, you're doing something. But you have to learn not to do it differently when you act it. But, I hear you protest, that doesn't feel like acting. Neither did the first Hagen exercise, and you were acting right then. Possibly more truthful than you ever have. Now, this lesson began with our new Latin mantra, Ars est celare artem. Does the painter, the ballet dancer, the golfer, the surgeon, the lawyer lay all of their technique out to sea? No. In the acting world, to my mind, Spencer Tracy is the embodiment of the actor who is concealing his art. When you watch him, it looks like normal everyday behavior. And that's what we humans go about doing in our daily lives. We go about trying to conceal our art in our day-to-day interactions with others. Just think. Do you really want the people you're chatting with to know what you genuinely feel and think about them? Not any more than they want to show what they think about you. Now, if a character is doing that...
That would be funny, wouldn't it? Some guy. He was in a bar as an office.
We want to know what they're thinking. They're drawing us in. See how this works? So I challenge you to rethink what acting is. Please trust me that when you've been given a character to play, you've been given huge, wonderful themes and thoughts and ideas and situations by a writer who slaved over that script. And all you have to do is tell their story through your actions. Do that, and you'll be believable. So from now on, actions will be the tools of your trade. So it's time to learn to speak in that language. Actions are what you do. Not feel, not think, but do. For your first actions, I'm going to ask you to do some very simple tasks. Impossible for you to fake, okay? So do whatever I tell you to do now, all right? Look at the floor. Look at the ceiling. Look at the nearest light switch. Look at the nearest window. Simple, right? No question of what the action is or what it demands. By the way, were you doing it or were you faking that you were doing it? Remember to simply actually do it. Don't show that you're doing it. Don't fake that you're doing it. Don't pretend that you're doing it. Just really do it. Another question. Was it you doing it or was it a character that you were playing? Of course, it was you doing it. Now, watch the screen. Find the people who are wearing glasses. Find the largest piece of furniture in the room. Find the windows that aren't broken. I said, find the windows that aren't broken. I lied. They're all broken. But at the end of your search, how did you feel about not finding any unbroken windows? So you felt something, huh? Remember that. These were baby actions, little boring activities. But like all actions, they were doable. That's the most important thing. They were doable. And they were specific. I didn't say, look at all the people. I said, find the people who are wearing glasses. An action has to be specific. It has to go somewhere. It has to have an object. I said, find the windows that aren't broken. And by doing that, I created drama. An action without an object is a weak action. Do you want to be a weak actor? Of course not. The world is full of weak actors, and we need you to be strong. Now, let's take this up a level. And again, really honestly do what I'm about to tell you to do. Think of the last novel that you read. Really do it. Now, remember the last time you cried. Now, count the number of letters in your first and last name. Find the softest piece of clothing that you're wearing. Count the number of wrinkles on the underside of your left index finger. The number of wrinkles on the underside of your left index finger. Do it. Now, hold please. Was it harder, these actions? Yes. What makes it harder? The end makes it harder. The end gives you the strength of the action. The stronger the action, the better. Here's another action. For the next several seconds, I want you to watch my mouth and study how I use my mouth when I talk. Watch my jaw and my tongue, how they move to make the pronunciations that I make when I'm speaking in my American accent. So what you're doing right now at this moment is you are playing the action to scrutinize or to analyze or to judge. That's what you're doing to me right now. And just knowing that you're doing that to me right now makes me think you're criticizing me, and that's creating an emotional reaction in me. So stop it. There. You created an emotion in me. And I chose to play the action to vent my nervousness at you. Got it? Now you and I are acting. But, I hear you say, this is ridiculous. When I'm out there on stage, I'm not going to make like a droid and mechanically play actions. Then let me remind you, at the start of this lesson, you gave a stunning performance of a spy trying to save their own life. But I wasn't acting, I hear you say. Oh, yes, you were. Possibly for the first time in your life. Do you understand? Acting is not performing. Performing is phony, hammy, stagey. You might impress the audience with your acrobatics, but you'll never move them. You'll never create that feeling of a sense of unity that we're after. The best thing for you to hope for from now on is that they not compliment you on your acting. I know, it hurts, but you get used to it. And why are you going to move your audience to tears simply by playing actions? Because it's what we do every day, and we can relate to it. We play actions every day, like racking your brains, trying to remember where you put your keys, like protesting that you haven't had a chance to watch TV all week, and if that doesn't work, then browbeating them into submission. Let's take that into art. In Jaws, Chief Brody is trying to suppress his fear while he's trying to kill the shark. That ain't relatable? You've never had some paralyzing fear when you knew you had to confront a bully at school or work? In Les Mis, Fantine struggles to lift herself out of poverty in order to help her daughter Cosette. She pleads with the factory boss to keep her job. She shoulders the burden of her poverty. She bears her soul to the audience, and then, when her life is over, she entrusts Jean Valjean with the care of her daughter. In Death of a Salesman, Willy Loman deludes himself that the American dream is achievable. And let me tell you, boys and girls, that delusion is real and relatable.
I was right.
Even to audiences in China.
I was right.
In A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge rejects the people in his life who matter to him. But after his night of transformation, he showers joy and goodwill on everyone.
Don't touch that!
In Up, Carl fights off the developers who want to take his house, conquers his fear of leaving home, and, braving the elements, he struggles to cross over entire countries, and doing whatever it takes, he carries Ellie's home to Paradise Falls. But then Russell helps him to open up, let go of the past, and wake up to the fact that actually what he needed all along was to start living his life again and let his spirit rise up.
That was cool!
And we in the audience have taken those actions with him because we've been afraid in our lives too, but conquered those feelings. So at the end, we feel that sense of unity with him. And that's why we feel so much emotion at the end when he comes to the really enlightened conclusion.
You know, it's just a house.
I know what you're thinking. This all sounds very analytical and artificial and mechanical and not truthful at all, and certainly not fun. And as my students always say, I do not perform actions in my daily life. And they also ask me, almost in the same breath, what happens if I have a script? How do I put an action on top of a line of text? Lesson 9. Isn't that going to look robotic, though? Well, at the very end of this lesson, you just watch the scored version of the scene with the doctor.
Can you hear me?
And you'll see all the actions I was playing with you. So there. But right now, I'm going to prove to you that actions are what people play on a daily basis, all over the world and throughout history. Right now, in every city, in every country, all over the world, someone somewhere is playing an action as they pursue the objective that keeps the human race alive. And that's asking someone out on a date. Let's assume you've been out on a date. If you haven't yet, school is in session. Let's assume that your parents did not arrange this date, but you actually asked this person out. And let's assume that you had the courage to ask this person face to face. Now, I'm supposing you didn't ask him like this.
I was wondering if you want to go out and do something.
Probably not. So what did you do? Did you persuade them?
Right, so we live close together. We're on the same course, so we see a lot of each other. And we're in the same uni, so I think it would be smart if we went and did something.
Nah. What about this?
So do you want to go out on a date, please?
Definitely not. Did you pester them?
It's just going to be one little date. We don't even have to call it a date, but please.
Hell no. Did you compliment them? Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Did you flatter them? That really works. Did you make them laugh? Everybody's attracted to a sense of humor. Did you cozy up to them? Did you charm them? All of those things that you did or will do are playing actions. You want more proof that we play actions in daily life? Someone wants you to get out of bed. You don't say,
5 more minutes.
or, I do not want to get out of bed at this time. No, you say,
Go away!
or,
Look, I've had school all week and it's Saturday. I'm having a lie-in.
or.
5 more minutes, please.
So actions are what we do in daily life. If you're a young person, you play them to convince your parents to give you more spending money. If you hire a contractor, you bargain for a lower rate. Honestly, if you really want to influence people in your daily life, learn to play a perfectly formed action, and you will have a huge effect on people. But of course, acting is not daily life. Drama is an art form. It appeals to something huge within us and outside of us. So our acting must have size, as if we're tapping into something bigger than ourselves. Doesn't mean we overact, but there are different levels of actions. Choose the wrong level, and it could be the difference between getting the job and getting a nice, "Thank you, that's all we need to see." In the classroom, I tell students that when you have two characters who are interacting with each other, they throw ideas at each other.
I don't know whether they shoot you or adopt you.
Which move an audience. So we do this with a partner. This is a way of getting our mental muscles accustomed to the different weights of the different kinds of conversation. Level 1 is to talk. It's the most basic form of communication. We talk all the time without taking it seriously. In daily life, we talk about things that mean nothing to us, about our teachers, other students. We spend our whole lives talking about these things without really experiencing them. Also, when we talk, we don't listen carefully. Another characteristic of talk is that we constantly interrupt each other. For a few minutes, I have them talk with their partner about anything that's going on. The tone should be matter of fact, straightforward, but without emotion. Level 2 is to chat. It's close to our everyday conversation, but it is not matter of fact. It has a deliberate lightness, just like the word chit-chat. Most of the time, we're not discussing ideas. We're not even talking about practical matters. We're chatting. Oh, what a lovely jacket. I love that shade of pink. And even when we ask each other, how are you? We really don't care. It's a conversation starter. That's why we never answer, it's funny you should ask. I have the oddest pain in my chest. Most of the time, we just say, I'm fine. How are you? Chatting. It's pleasant. It's polite. It's airy. It's light. It's like a game of badminton. But it's empty. It doesn't matter. Nothing depends on it. It's just a way to pass the time. So for the next few minutes, I have my students chat. In fact, to chat is a fake action because the person you're chatting to knows it doesn't matter. It's fake, but it's normal. There's no heavy lifting. Chatting is as light a conversation as it can be. Level 3, to discuss. Now we get to the center of modern theater. In every great piece of writing, including monologues, you can find an element of discussion of ideas. Because if two people simply agree on stage, we're finished. There's no play, no drama. The modern theater is based on our ability to consider 2 points of view, and then we have to choose. So, I have my students discuss. What makes this unique from the other means of communication is the growing relationship with our partner. To have a true discussion, both partners must be serious about the issues. This is the first action in which content really matters. It's not just a way of passing the time or being polite or sharing impersonal information. The ideas expressed by your partner should excite you. The give and take is real and unforced. For example, should a man be a family man or an artist? Should a woman be an actress or a wife and mother? You might have a discussion about climate change. That is, should we change the way we live our lives and do something about it, or let technology sort it out? Social media. Are we better off with it or without it? But I always tell my students, don't cut off your partner. Before you speak, imagine that you have been provoked by a specific statement. Hear it and then react. Notice how the focus intensifies. The body is more engaged compared to when you're just talking or chatting. Now we reach level 4, to argue. This grows out of the action to discuss. It's when you hear your partner, but you're not listening. You're now single-mindedly fighting for your position. Argument has passion. It's not about logic in the mind. It's about you listening and responding with your guts.
And I work like a dog day and night, living off a coffee from a pot none of you want to touch.
You see the difference between the different levels? Now, what's the point in learning these levels of actions? You need to get into your muscle memory. You must begin to feel the difference between talk and chat and discuss and argue. Because here's where most actors crash in the audition. Most actors in their work just talk and chat, and they call it acting, and they're boring. I say you need to start out with discuss, and then find your way into argue as soon as you can. I'm not saying you have to scream and fight. And don't worry, we'll learn how to score a scene so that you don't fall into that trap. It's just that what you feel and what you need in that moment is so important that you're going to connect with the other character 100% to get across to them what you feel and what you think and what you need. If it's not important to you, the casting director and the audience won't think it's important to watch you. But if it's vitally and crucially important, the audience will follow you wherever you want to take them. And as we've seen earlier, it leads to a place of unity where their ego and yours become one. That's when you have a work of art. But now, It's time to test our studio audience. It's time for Spot the Action, the game show where students play actions for cold hard cash. Okay, it's a $5 each, but still pretty damn good. Here's how it works. Volunteers are given a line of text, "That's my seat," and an action to play. Students in the audience have to guess which one out of 4 they're playing. If they can spot it, the student playing the action wins the money. So, let's play Spot the Action. First, let's watch Frankie.
It's my seat. That's my seat.
You're...
Yeah, and that was my seat.
And this was when...
That was my seat.
Which action was Frankie playing? If you said excite, that is correct. Here's Alexia.
Oh, please, genuinely, if that is my seat, so, and I really need to sit down, so could you just move? Please. No, I know it's hot. Please, can you just, genuinely, I really need to sit down.
Spot the action that Alexia played. If you said mock, that is incorrect. It was, that's right, plead. And here's Ava.
Do you not understand?
Well, yeah, I understand. I just don't know that I want to.
No one wants to, but you can please move to another seat, because that is my seat. I am better than you. That is my seat.
Okay.
Spot Ava's action that she played. Was it command? Bingo! Trust me, Ava Bounds has perfected that action. Finally, let's watch Hattie.
Because that's my seat.
That's not your seat.
Yes, it is. That's my seat.
Why is this your seat?
Because I always sit on the seats.
You always... I know, you need to stand up.
No, but that's my seat. You've already sat on the seat, so I should think I should have a go at sitting on the seat.
Now, play Spot the Action. What was she doing to me? Ooh! Did you find it difficult to spot? So did the other students. So I coached Hattie, and here's her second take on it.
Well, I'm going to keep saying it until you give it to me. That's my seat.
No, it's my seat.
That's my seat.
That's not
That's
your
my seat. That's
No,
my
it's-
seat.
It's not...
That's my seat.
Fine!
That's
Fine. Good. All right.
Now which action was she playing? That's right, she was trying to exhaust me. That's always a fun game, but there's actually a cold, hard, cruel law of the universe in that. And that is, if the audience didn't see it, that means I didn't do it. But I really felt it. I felt that performance. I'm sorry, but the audience doesn't care whether you felt it or not. Some of my worst performances were when I felt it. I connected deeply with the material, and I wanted the audience to connect with it just as deeply. But my director told me, "Brian, stop beating us over the head with your emotions. If you do that, then I and the audience have nothing to do." When I pulled back and just played the actions, they thought I was brilliant, because the actions created real emotions. So do you see now how playing the mood or an emotion is of no use to us whatsoever, and that it's actually counterproductive? We have to stop wallowing in our feelings, get out of our heads, and connect with our scene partner. We have to send our energy outwards to them. That's what playing actions is, sending that energy to our scene partner. Look, acting has no emojis. We can't just insert an emotion and indicate to the audience that we just felt something. If we do something, then the emotion will happen, just like the students. Did you notice how when they kept playing the action and it wasn't working with me, they began to feel something?
Because that is my seat.
You don't have to feel any emotion in order to be able to act. It's more effective if we do something to our partner and the right emotion will happen. That's the cliff edge that I mentioned at the beginning. There's a phrase, jump and then it will appear. Choose to play an action, really do it full out, and the emotion will appear. So in your course book, I've given you your own version of Spot the Action, which you can play with a partner by trying to get some money out of them. Start rewiring your brain to think that acting is doing something honestly in an uninhibited and raw and visceral way. It is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. This is a crucial lesson in your acting training. And later in Lesson 9, we'll take these concepts and put them into creating a role. But I got some homework for you today. First, I realized that learning how to speak in actions is like learning how to speak a new language. So first, crack open the Emotions Actions Conversion table, which is contained in your course material for this lesson. Students find this very helpful in breaking the habit of playing a generalized emotion, which is fake and gets boring after several seconds, to playing a doable action. It's going to require you to expand your vocabulary, but it will be a complete game changer in giving you a huge variety to your work. Your acting will feel more real, and the audience will be moved as you communicate to them what the writer wants you to. And this is precisely what a casting director wants to see. Then, in your course book, take some time at the end of a day and brainstorm some actions that you played in your daily life. And to talk, or to tell, or to ask doesn't count. The more aware you are of actions that you normally play, that you can really put your shoulder into, the more natural it will be to send that energy to another character. And finally, take 3 actions from the table and deliberately play them in your everyday life. You don't have to show anybody that you're playing them, just do it and see what happens. I doubt seriously somebody's going to turn to you and say, "Wait a second, are you trying out an acting exercise on me?" Just do it. Play the action honestly and see what effect you have. You'll begin to see we all play actions, even the non-actors. That's why when actors actually do it in a scene, when they actually play an action, and imagine that their scene partner is the object of that action, and they put all of their concentration into playing that action, people look at them and say, "Wow, they're so talented." And then you'll be approaching Stella Adler's mark of excellence. When you most succeed, you do so by seeming not to act at all. So play with these actions. And in our next lesson, we're going to put to bed that little voice in your head that I know is still there, which says, "The audience won't see my emotions." Next lesson, I'll teach you a foolproof way to connect with your emotions so you don't have to worry about that gremlin again. Until then, otsukare-sama deshita, and break a leg. This is lesson 7, antidote scene, take 1. Can you hear me? Do you know where you are? You're in a hospital. Listen to me, we need to work fast. You've just come back from abroad on a mission for us. We think that somebody you met over there in the last 24 hours has poisoned you. That's why you're waking up here. Now, I need your help. We can only come up with an antidote that's going to save your life if you can tell me everything that you've ingested over the last 24 hours. Listen to me, think. Everything that you put into your mouth over the last 24 hours. We've only got about 30 seconds if we're going to be able to treat you. Don't think about it. Tell me everything that you put into your mouth over the last 24 hours. Go. Go on, keep talking. Keep talking. We've got about 10 seconds left. Stop. Nurse, start an IV of atropine stent. Good. Well done.